And we are live on YouTube.
So I'm good to start. Okay. So we will sing today. Um, Ek Din Nila Chale. The official song is Prasada Sevaya, Song 5. The author is Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. The book name is Gitavali, and the language is Bengali. So we'll read the translation first. Let's read the Bengali first because let's sing the song first before we do that because I think the Bengalis it's quite self-explanatory. Bhaire ek dina nila chale prasad sevana kale Mahaprabhu Sri Krishna Chaitanya বলিলেন ভক্তগণে কেচার আন্না শুদ্ধ মনে সেবা করি হাও আজ ধন্যা কেচারানা পিতপানা apurva prasadana Jagannatha dilo toma sabe akantha bhojana kori bolo mukhe hari hari avidya durita nahi robhe Jagannath prasadana virinchi sambhura manya khaile prema hoibe udoi emona durlabhadhana payacho sarvajana Jai Jai Jagannath Jai 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 Jagannath Jai Ekadina Nila Chale Prasada Sevana Kole Mahaprabhu Sri Krishna Chaitanya বলিলেন ভক্তগণে কেচরানা শুদ্ধ মনে সেবা করি হাও আজ ধন্যা কেচরানা পিঠপানা অপূর্ব প্রসাদ নানা জগন্নাথ দিল তোমা সবে আকণ্ঠা ভোজন করি বলো মুখে হরি হরি আবিদ্যা দুরিতা নাহি রবে জগন্নাথ প্রসাদন্ন বিরিঞ্চি শম্ভুরমন্য কইলে প্রেম হইবে উদয় এমনা দুর্লভ ধন পায়াছ সর্বজনা Jai Jai Jagannath Jai Jaya Jaya Jagannath Jai Jaya Jaya Jagannath Jai Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. So we can read the translations of this extraordinary song. So I'll read the first one. O brothers, one day in Jagannath Puri, at the time of honoring the Lord's prasad, Mahaprabhu Sri Krishna Chaitanya said to all the devotees, "May you become blessed on this day by honoring the khichdi of the Lord in a pure state of mind." Anyone would like to volunteer to read number 2?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
Lord Jagannath has given you varieties of extraordinary and wonderful prasad, such as kichuri and pita pana, a type of cake and condensed milk preparation. Therefore, take all of this prasad until you are filled up to the neck, and with your voices chant Hari Hari. In such a transcendental atmosphere, ignorance and sin cannot remain.
Number 3?
I can read.
Sure.
These prasad, food grains of Lord Jagannath and worshipable even by Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva upon the eating of it. Love of God arise within the heart, all of you have obtained. Such a rare treasure, all glories, all glories, all glories to Lord Jagannath.
This song is sung while honoring Khichdi Prasadam. Hare Krishna. So that's actually a very anybody have any reflections on this that um we we sing this song during when we eat Khichdi. So last week we sang this when we sang the song of what we're supposed to sing before we take any sweets. And this week it's what we're supposed to sing before any Khichdi. So what I was telling my mom the other day that if we just remember to we say, let's just make a vow today that we have to memorize all these songs before we take any sweets anymore. And it'll be very healthy for all of us. So the Lord's prasadam is given so much importance here that even Brahma and Shiva are it's considered worshipable by them. So any other comments anybody else has on prasadam? This is a very nice song list that um, the merciful Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written for us.
Hari Prabhu, I found it
Yes.
interesting that he says that when you are eating prasad in this transcendental atmosphere, ignorance and sin cannot remain.
Mm,
I think there's so much even in prasad that you can be Krishna conscious. So
yeah, that's such an important point, right? It's not just mundane eating. It's a service to Krishna to take prasadam very respectfully and very honorfully, and to know that it's the Lord Himself, and it is up to us not to throw away prasadam, waste prasadam, abuse prasadam, and to not treat it respectfully. And anything can be prasadam. This is just talking about the foodstuffs, but Bhagavat prasadam and Vaishnava prasadam and all these different types of prasadam, it is up to us as Vaishnavas to know the truth behind these things and to um, give it the proper respect that it's due. So, any final comments on this topic?
Actually, I'll just say, Prabhu, what you repeated, that, what a wonderful series of prayers, and never heard them before. So thank you for choosing this. And also it shows that how our acharyas and, previous all these great devotees are, their consciousness is so high that they have taken that effort of like, coming up with this offering to the Lord, that even from the prashadam, even this like little sweet or like all the simple foods. These are not very opulent. We can hear like Jagannath Puri, Chappan Bhog, but even in the simple dish also they are coming with this wonderful prayer. So thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, Mahaprabhu's favorite dish was sak, spinach boiled in water, and it's the most simple dish that you can make. So my new practice is I like eating sak for dinner. Just eat sak, no chapati, no nothing. Just eat sak, and you don't need anything else. It fills you up very nicely. So it's quite nice. And also, Radhika Raman Prabhu was saying on the Sunday feast a couple of weeks ago that we're the only religion or group that chants about prasadam at 4 a.m. in the morning in the Samsara Dava. We sing Chaturvidha Sri Bhagavat Prasada Swadana Triptan Hari Bhakta Sangan, that things that are chewed, sucked, and tasted in so many different categories. What other religion teaches you to talk about to sing, not even just talk, sing about prasadam at 4 a.m. in the morning, and then come here at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then sing 5 songs just on the glories of taking prasadam. It's amazing. But with that, we will conclude our song, by a study of the Vaishnava Acharya's bhajans this week, and we would further continue to our wonderful next part of the program, the serving of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So this week's Srimad Bhagavatam class will be served by Sumitra Mataji. And Sumitra Mataji is a very beloved and very wonderful part of our community. And she is a personal inspiration for many people in Columbus, and so many people. I see Mother Guru Vandana coming from New Delhi, India, to join us. So we are very happy to see her. And so Mother Sumitra, she has given so much wonderful services to ISKCON Columbus over the years, and she has had her family has a real taste in the reading of Srila Prabhupada's books and understanding them in a very deep manner. So we are very grateful for her, and we are very grateful to her family. And I am especially grateful that she is going to serve the Srimad Bhagavatam class today. And the verses are Canto 1, Chapter 2, text 1 through 7. So without further ado, I will, at the end of the class, I will send some instructions on the quiz and the game if anybody would like to play or quiz themselves. I will send some messages on there. And then also about questions. If anybody would like to ask a question at the end, I'll give another reminder at the end. Please make the question, please think it over, and also make sure that the question is about the topics discussed, unless the speaker specifies that he or she can take any other questions. Okay, so Mother Sumitra, you can take over from here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much for this opportunity to serve the Srimad Bhagavatam. And thank you very much for adding structure to the study and the the many reminders during the week, inspiring people to do their part. So thank you very much. I'm not a very good singer, so I'm going to start with prayers and then go into the class. Om Ajnanatimrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarane. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I start with a lot of gratitude for many people who have helped me develop a taste for the holy name. And my first Shiksha Guru is Her Grace Guru Vandana Devi Dasi. She's my sister-in-law, Krish Prabhu's sister. She's the reason I'm here. And then Naveen Krishna Prabhu and their family, Hari Prabhu, Alek Prabhu, many people in our community that have helped me get a taste for the holy name and serve as inspiration when I see so many people being enthusiastic that really wants us to do more. So thank you very much for the opportunity. So today I wanted to make sure that that the class that we have today is based on two foundational principles. One is that we stay close to the Prabhupada's books, in that I don't know how many of you had a chance to read the purports. It's been an extremely distracting week. So even if you read or even if you didn't, what I was going to do today is read the Sanskrit, read the translation, and some parts of the purport which were very inspiring to me. And that way, even if you've heard it before, it doesn't hurt to hear again. And the second request that humble request that I'm making to all of you is, as you're listening to reflect upon what is it that you found inspiring and what is it that you might take away from these verses from Prabhupada's purports that you will apply towards your sadhana. So I would like for that to be the context or the crux for the discussion. So I'm going to go over the verses, share some realizations, and then open up the floor for discussion and questions. Okay. Okay, so I am just going to share my screen. Can everyone see my screen? Okay, perfect. Okay, and the reason it's very, very important to try to read the Sanskrit is, after a while, there's so much pattern recognition, and we see that in Sunday school, how quickly the kids pick up. So that's why I'm going to start with the Sanskrit translation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vyasa Vacha. Iti samprashna samhristo vipranam romahashanahi pratipuja vachaste sam pravuttam upachakrame. And the translation is Ugra Shravasutta Goswami, the son of Ramharshana, being fully satisfied by the perfect questions of the Brahmanas, thanked them and thus attempted to reply. I wanted to start with a very, very, very brief recap of what we heard from His Grace Arjun Saka Prabhu last week, because it's very important to have that context to help understand this chapter. So Arjun Saka,
Mataji, your voice has been breaking since you've shared your screen. So maybe one of us can share our screen, because I think it's because of the screen share your voice has been breaking. Is that okay?
Sure.
So Alex
Yeah.
will share the screen right now, 1.2.1.
Okay, sounds good.
My apologies for interrupting.
No, thank you. At least I knew. Yeah. So so while Alec Prabhu is pulling up, we can talk about what did Arjun Saka Prabhu teach us last week. He taught us the 6 questions that the sages of Naimisaranya asked of Sutta Goswami, and those 6 questions are: what is the ultimate benefit for all of humanity? What is the essence of all scriptures? And the reason they asked that is they knew that people in Kali Yuga would not have the attention span or the dedication or the memory to remember even what is taught. So they wanted to know what's the essence of all scriptures, and why did Krishna take birth in the womb of Devaki? Describe the Purusha avatars, please describe the Leela avatars, and where did Dharma take shelter after Krishna left? Those were the 6 questions, and that in the first chapter, and that's the prelude to what follows in the second chapter. So in this, I like to think of the second chapter as providing the answers for the first 2 questions, and also delving really deep into the process of bhakti. Arjun Saka Prabhu said that 1.2.6 and 1.2.7 are the answers to the first 2 questions. And from 8 through 29 onwards, he talks about the process. So today we are going to focus on the answers for the first 2 questions. So here it says that Sutta Goswami was really pleased by the perfect questions of the Brahmanas. He thanked them, and many of us have had this experience when someone asks us a good, thought-provoking question. So he was really satisfied by that. And Alek Prabhu, if you don't mind moving to the next verse. Okay. Suta Uvacha Yam pravrajantam anupetam apeta krityam Dvaipayano virahakatara ajuhava Putreti tanmayatayo taravo binedus Tam sarva bhuta hridayam munim anatosmi. So the translation here is Sri Sutta Goswami said, "Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto that great sage Sukadev Goswami, who can enter the hearts of all. When he went away to take up the renounced order of life, sannyasa, leaving home without undergoing reformation by the sacred thread or the ceremonies observed by the higher caste, his father Vyasadeva, fearing separation from him, cried out, 'O my son!' Indeed, only the trees which were absorbed in the same feelings of separation echoed in response to the bereaved father." So, from the outset, this verse looks like Sutta Goswami is offering obeisances before he starts. My realizations from this verse were in order to make progress in spiritual life, one of the first things we need is gratitude. Whether it's spiritual or material, none of us are doing whatever we are doing with our efforts alone. A lot of people have helped us along the way, a lot of mentors that we go to when we have doubts. And so for me, from this verse, the most important key was whatever we are doing in terms of sadhana or service, to always remember with gratitude the people who brought us to where we are. And for me, the key from this translation is, he says, Sukadev Goswami, who can enter the hearts of all. When I first read this verse, I was like, wow, so even he can enter into anyone's heart who's reading the Bhagavatam. And to make that point, he offers an analogy. So Sukadev Goswami did not have any agenda when he was reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam. He was already liberated. He already had he was a very pure devotee. So he really didn't have any agenda. And when he was a certain age, he just left home. And he did not have to go through the ritualistic ceremonies, such as having the sacred thread, the Upanayanam, or the ceremonies. And Prabhupada makes the point here that, Alek Prabhuji, do you mind scrolling down a little bit? Okay, so in this second paragraph that starts with generally a man, so you'll see the last sentence of that, where he says, the Vaishnava stage is the postgraduate status of a Brahmana. A progressive Brahmana must necessarily become a Vaishnava, for a Vaishnava is a self-realized, learned Brahmana. So this is a very important aspect. What he's saying is, it's not enough to learn the scriptures, but the key is to internalize them and self-realize them. And I heard Venkata Bhatta Prabhu speaking at the Bhakti Center, where he said, sometimes we cannot plan our life in such a way that it's only Shravanam, 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 Shravanam. We want to do Shravanam, but also spend some time reflecting on Mananam and Nididhyasanam. So all what I learned, how am I going to apply this in my sadhana, in my service, in my relationships with Krishna and devotees? So Prabhupada makes the point that a Vaishnava is someone who is not just learned, but also self-realized. And in the next paragraph, the third line, he says, anyone therefore who becomes a Vaishnava, accepted by the first-class Vaishnava, or Uttama Adhikari Vaishnava, is already considered a Brahmana, regardless of his birth or past deeds. And he goes on to give an example. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted this principle and recognized Srila Haridas Thakur as the Acharya of the holy name, although Thakur Haridasa appeared in a Mohammedan family. In conclusion, Srila Sukadev Goswami was born a Vaishnava, and therefore Brahmanism was included in him. Alek Prabhu, thank you. If you don't mind going back to the translation. So here, Prabhupada makes the point that in addition to learning, there has to be the self-realized aspect. And one of the other analogies that Sutta Goswami is saying is that Sukadev Goswami did not have the conception of me, mine. He really was self-realized in that he perfectly understood that the super soul in him was the super soul in every living entity, in the trees and all that. So when Sukadev Goswami left home, Vyasadev, like any other father, right, would, fearing separation from him, cried out to him. But instead of Sukadev Goswami responding to him, it was the trees that responded to him. And the acharyas say that Sukadev Goswami entered into the trees, and because he identified with the super soul in all living entities and was able to respond to Vyasadeva and pacify him. So the acharyas say that just like Sukadev Goswami entered into the trees, he can enter into our hearts as well. And in the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, one of the analogies they use is that Sukadev Goswami is like the full moon, and just like the tides of the sea rise and fall based on the moon, our intellects in our selves are drawn towards the moon, just like the tides are drawn to the moon. Our intellect is drawn towards Sukadev Goswami. So this is, personally, I thought when we read the Bhagavatam, if we remember this verse, it really instantly establishes a connection of the Guru Parampara, that this is knowledge that has been, despite a lot of external circumstances, uh, passed down from person to person and preserved, and then shared by Srila Prabhupada. So those were my realizations in this verse. And Prabhuji, if we don't mind going to the next verse. Okay, so this is a very, very nice verse. And the Sanskrit has a nice meter where you can even sing. So here Sutta Goswami continues. Yasvanubhavam akila shruti saramekam adhyatma deepam atititi rishatam tamondam samsarinam karunayaha purana guhyam tam vyasa sunum upayami gurum muninam. And the translation here is, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto him, who is Sukadev Goswami, the spiritual master of all sages, the son of Vyasadeva, who out of his great compassion for those gross materialists who struggled to cross over the darkest regions of material existence, spoke this most confidential supplement to the cream of Vedic knowledge after having personally assimilated it by experience. Prabhuji, if you don't mind going back to the Sanskrit. Thank you. Thank you. So many times when you're reading the Sanskrit, you'll find that the translation doesn't match each line in the Sanskrit, but and it's Prabhupada's mercy, because he really distilled the Sanskrit verse into a format that we can understand. Here, Yasvanu Bhavam means that's one who is self-realized. Although Sukadev Goswami is compared to a parrot in the third verse, Nigama Kalpataror, here the import of this verse is that Sukadev Goswami just didn't recite the Bhagavatam verbatim what he heard from his father Vyasadeva. He self-realized it, he assimilated it with experience and then recited it. So Yasvanubhava means he assimilated it and self-realized it. Akila Shruti Saram Ekam. Akila Shruti means all the scriptures in the world. And Saram means essence. And Ekam means the one. So the essence of all the scriptures is now transmitted in this one scripture, which is the Bhagavatam. And Adhyatma Deepam. And everyone knows what Deepam means. This is Kartik month. Deepam is the light, and Adhyatma Deepam is the transcendental light. And here in the Bhagavatam and in the Bhagavad Gita, you'll see a lot of references to ignorance being darkness and knowledge being light. So that's what he's saying. With the light of the Bhagavatam, which is transcendental, Atititi Rishatam Tamondam. Tamo, everyone knows the meaning. We've heard of Tamo Guna. So the darkness of a material existence. And Atititi Rishatam means those who are desiring to overcome. So those of us who are all here, we are here for that purpose. And he's saying that Sukadev Goswami uses this scripture as a torchlight for those people who are desiring to overcome the darkness of material existence, samsarinam, which is the samsarinam, the circle of life and death, Karunayaha, and he makes a point about Sukadev Goswami's compassion. Like I said before, Sukadev Goswami does not have any agenda. He's not going to get anything out of it. And it is his pure compassion that he recited this knowledge to all of us. Purana Guhyam. Guhyam means confidential. Purana means ancient. These are scriptures that are very ancient and very confidential, and he shares it with everyone. And Tam Vyasa Sunam. Vyasa Sunam means son. So he who is the son of Vyasa. And Upayami Guru Munina means he who's the spiritual master of all sages. So again, he goes on to glorify Sukadev Goswami. So that teaches us a lot. So before we attempt to do anything, to really pay a lot of gratitude to those of us who gave this knowledge to us, and by doing all this, he's really invoking the presence of Sukadev Goswami. He's saying a prayer that may I be empowered to recite to these sages in the same spirit that you recited it to Parikshit Maharaj. So so that was very that's a very nice verse. And okay, so the next verse is again he continues paying obeisances to a lot of other people, and we'll see who else he's saying to. And this verse is a very important verse. You'll find many speakers, before they sing or recite the Bhagavatam, they'll start out with this verse. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet. So the translation is, before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayana, unto Nara Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. So again, more gratitude and invoking a lot more to people who've helped him in this path. And many times in Prabhupada's books, you'll see a consistent theme. He'll always say Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. And Rahul was sharing this realization with me. It's not mine. So he was saying Nara Narayana Rishi as Guru, and Vyasadev as Sadhu, and Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, as Shastras. We need good memory. We need insight and intelligence to be able to appreciate what these Shastras are saying. So again, he pays obeisances to all of them. And Prabhuji, I'm going to read the whole purport. This is a very nice purport. All the Vedic literatures and the Puranas are meant for conquering the darkest region of material existence. The living being is in the state of forgetfulness of his relation with God due to his being overly attracted to material sense gratification from time immemorial. His struggle for existence in the material world is perpetual, and it's not possible for him to get out of it by making plans. If he at all wants to conquer this perpetual struggle for existence, he must re-establish his eternal relation with God. And one who wants to adopt such remedial measures must take shelter of literature such as the Vedas and the Puranas. Foolish people say that the Puranas have no connection with the Vedas. However, the Puranas are supplementary explanation of the Vedas intended for different types of men. All men are not equal. There are men who are conducted by the mode of goodness, others who are under the mode of passion, and others who are under the mode of ignorance. The Puranas are so divided that any class of men can take advantage of them and gradually regain their lost position and get out of the hard struggle for existence. Srila Sutta Goswami shows the way of chanting the Puranas. This may be followed by persons who aspire to be preachers of the Vedic literatures and the Puranas. Srimad Bhagavatam is a spotless Purana, and it's especially meant for them who desire to get out of the material entanglement permanently. So, so the Sri Vaishnava Acharyas say that the word Purana came from Pura A Navam. So even though it's very ancient, anytime you read it, it still seems very fresh, and it gives you fresh meaning and fresh realizations. And that's why we keep coming to lectures and listening, right? We've heard many of the pastimes over and over many times, but there's always something new you get out of it when you're listening, when you're reading. And that's, you can't say the same thing about some other book that you read. Once you've read a book, once you know what it is, it's not like you're going to get something new out of reading a calculus book or a chemistry book. Whereas this is different. Anytime you read, whatever your circumstance in life at that time is, you will get different realizations when you read the Bhagavatam and the Puranas than something that you might have read 2 years ago. And we are facing that now, right? So now we are going through COVID. We thought it was under control and life was slowly beginning to move on, and now we are kind of back to square one. So we have to be very clear about what our true shelter is. And here Prabhupada in no uncertain terms says that our shelter is the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Puranas. Okay, next verse, please. Okay, this is the fifth verse. Munayah sadhu prastoham bhavadbhi loka mangalam yakritaha Krishna samprashno yenatma suprasidati. So here again he says, "O sages, I've been justly questioned by you. Your questions are worthy because of two reasons. Because they relate to Lord Krishna and so are of relevance to the world's welfare. Only questions of this sort are capable of completely satisfying the self." So if we go back to the Sanskrit, I want us to pay attention to the word suprasidati. And this is the word that will come in the next few verses. So suprasidati means completely pleased. And there's no way to explain what completely pleased is. You know it when you feel it. And many of us, we have that experience, whether it's in the middle of a kirtan or in the middle of a lecture where you're completely satisfied. And here Sutta Goswami reiterates that, and he acknowledges the sages of Naimisanyam, their questions are worthy because they relate to Lord Krishna and so are of relevance to the world's welfare. And only questions of this sort are capable of completely satisfying the self. If you take this point and combine it with the point from the last verse, which was Sukadev Goswami's compassion and Prabhupada's compassion, one thing we, as devotees, we need to also internalize is that in the Bhagavatam, it's glorified that questions that are relevant to the world's welfare are considered worthy. And there are a lot of examples of devotees being compassionate. We heard about Sukadev compassion in the last verse being glorified by Sutta Goswami. But there are countless examples. Prabhupada's compassion, right? I don't think that for the grace of Prabhupada, we would not be able to read this here. And I heard one of the lectures that in terms of the devotee's compassion, when Sudama saw Krishna, and we all know why Sudama went to Dwaraka. He was in extreme state of poverty, and his wife asked him to go. So he went there, and Krishna knew why he was there too. But when Krishna asked him, "What do you want?" and there were three things that Sudama asked Krishna. He said, "I always want unconditional love to you. I want friendship among devotees, and I want compassion to everyone." And that was really inspiring when I heard that here is God asking him what he wants, and he knows he went there, but he didn't ask that, and he asked something that was really three things that could not be affected by whatever happens in the external world: unconditional love to Krishna, friendship among devotees, and compassion to everyone else. So that I think is the sign of a devotee, that they are always, they don't hold grudges, they are thinking about the welfare. And another example of compassion is Vidura. As we go through the Bhagavatam, we'll see that Vidura learned a lot from Maitreya Rishi and from Uddhava. And Vidura could have just said, I have all what I want, and then move on. But he went back to Dhritarashtra. He did not write Dhritarashtra off. He goes back to Dhritarashtra, and that is his sign of compassion. Although he chastised Dhritarashtra, he got him back to the purpose. So devotees are always thinking about Krishna, but also about relevance for the world's welfare. And you see that in both the people who ask the question and the people who are answering the question, right? These sages who gather in Naimisharanya for the 1,000-year sacrifice, they did that sacrifice because to protect, to understand what the people in Kali Yuga need to get better. And they're thinking about people that they don't know, and here they are thinking about that. So that's a great example of compassion, and we've already talked about the compassion from Sukadev Goswami. Thank you, Prabhu. The next, sorry, the previous verse. I'm sorry, yeah. So here Prabhupada makes a very important point that we are always busy asking questions, either questioned or asking questions of someone else. And that our whole time in the day is spent with a lot of questions about how do we maintain ourselves, and also making the point what indeed is a worthy question. Okay. And so this last paragraph is very interesting. He says, Krishna is our most intimate master, friend, father or son, and object of conjugal love. Forgetting Krishna, we've created so many objects of questions and answers, but none of them are able to give us complete satisfaction. All things but Krishna give temporary satisfaction only. So if we are to have complete satisfaction, we must take to the questions and answers about Krishna. We cannot live for a moment without being questioned or without giving answers. Because the Srimad Bhagavatam deals with questions and answers that are related to Krishna, we can derive the highest satisfaction only by reading and hearing this transcendental literature. And this last two lines are very important. Prabhupada goes on to say, one should learn the Srimad Bhagavatam and make an all-round solution to all problems pertaining to social, political, or religious matters. Srimad Bhagavatam and Krishna are the sum total of all things. So, and I've personally had this experience, the knowledge that you get from Srimad Bhagavatam, how that makes you not only better in your sadhana, but also better in how you associate everyone, not just in the devotee community, but with everyone. And that's the purifying potency of the Srimad Bhagavatam, that, and that's why it's called the spotless Purana. Alek Prabhu, please, next verse, please. Okay, so now we come to the last two verses, and this verse is the answer to the first question that the sages asked. Recap, the first question they asked was, Savai Pumsam Paro Dharmo. Sorry, the first question that they asked was, what is the ultimate benefit for humanity? They didn't ask for one particular group, they asked for the humanity in general. And here is the answer for that question. Savai Pumsam Paro Dharmo Yato Bhaktir Adokshaje Ahari Apratihata Yayatma Suprasidati. And the translation is, the occupation, dharma, for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. Prabhuji, if we can go back to the Sanskrit. Okay, so here the Sanskrit flows very logically with the English as well. So Savai Pumsam means all of humanity, certainly for all of humanity. Paro means sublime. Dharma is occupation. So this sublime or supreme occupation for all of humanity. That's what that first line is saying. And yato, how do you do that? That's by bhakti, to whom? That is Tadotaje. So Bhakti is devotional service, Adokshade is the transcendental Lord, and Ahituki is causeless. And that what Prabhupada translates as unmotivated, and apratihata is unbroken. You'll see many times in Sanskrit, just like in English, you know how we have normal, and then the word, if you add A, B, it becomes abnormal, the opposite. In Sanskrit, you have to add the letter A to make it the opposite. So pratihata is broken, apratihata means unbroken. So ahaituki is unmotivated, apratihata is uninterrupted. Yayatma is by which the Atma is suprasidati. And we saw this word in the previous verse as well, is completely satisfied. And the purport here is very, very nice. So I encourage people, even if you didn't have time to read all the purports, if you can please read at least the purport 1.2.6 and 1.2.7. So, and here, and sometimes we have to learn ourselves and ask, if we are not completely satisfied in devotional service, which of the two is going wrong? And is it motivated by what is our true motivation? What is our true motivation? Is it a desire to get recognition from a community? Is it a desire to have some standing? I think at some point we have to be very level with ourselves and ask, what is our true motivation? And that's what he says here, that even desire for liberation cannot be the motivation. And also uninterrupted. So I do my sadhana when things are going well, or when things are going poorly. That's when I remember Krishna. But when things are going well, then I'm not as sincere in the sadhana. So I'm not sure who is doing this, but it doesn't matter. So so it's important to be unmotivated and uninterrupted. And that's an honest conversation we should have with ourselves. And Prabhupada's words here are very, very powerful. So I'm not even going to try to attempt to explain. We should just read the purport. So Prabhupada talks about two paths. One is the path of sense enjoyment, pravritti marga, and the other is nivritti marga, or the path of renunciation. And Prabhupada says that the path of renunciation or sacrifice is superior than the path of enjoyment. So Prabhuji, if you can scroll down a little bit. Okay, so that line, that devotional service, if you can highlight from that. So, but devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Yeah. So, and here Prabhupada really talks about when we do bhakti, where should our motivations be? So he says, but devotional service to the Supreme Lord, which leads one to eternal, blissful, and all cognizant life, is called the superior quality of occupation. This is sometimes polluted when mixed with inferior quality. For example, adoption of devotional service for material gain is certainly an obstruction to the progressive path of renunciation. Renunciation or abnegation for ultimate good is certainly a better occupation than enjoyment in the diseased condition of life. Such enjoyment only aggravates the symptoms of disease and increases in duration. Therefore, devotional service to the Lord must be pure in quality, i.e., without the least desire for material enjoyment. One should therefore accept the superior quality of occupation in the form of devotional service to the Lord without any tinge of unnecessary desire, fruitive action, and philosophical speculation. This alone can lead one to perpetual solace in his service. So, so what I do in this verse is to constantly have a check on our own selves, asking, why am I doing it? Is my intent pure? And how am I doing bhakti? Is my effort or endeavor consistent? And what is the quality of that effort? Is it sincere and is it consistent? And this next paragraph is also very nice. When you see the word dharma, you'll find that it's very hard to find one word in English that explains dharma. So, dharma can be virtue, occupation, but it's a very unique Sanskrit word that really doesn't have a parallel in English. So here Prabhupada explains, we purposely denoted dharma as occupation because the root meaning of the word dharma is that which sustains one's existence. A living being's sustenance of existence is to coordinate his activities with this eternal relation with the Supreme Lord Krishna. Krishna is the central of living beings, and he is the all attractive living entity or eternal form amongst all other living beings or eternal forms. Each and every living being has his eternal form, spiritual existence, and Krishna is the eternal attraction for all of them. Krishna is the complete whole, and everything else is his part and parcel. The relation is one of the servant and the served. It is transcendental and is completely distinct from our experience in material existence. This relation of servant and the served is the most congenial form of intimacy, and one can realize it as devotional service progresses. And it's a very, very important point. And Prabhupada is saying that you can only realize it as you progress in devotional service. Everyone should engage himself in that transcendental loving service of the Lord, even in the present conditional state of material existence. And the last sentence is the most important. That will gradually give one the clue to actual life and please him to complete satisfaction. Sometimes I find that when we hear a lot and we read a lot, we get a lot of questions, and sometimes the answer may not be either what we're looking for or may not satisfy what we're asking. And the only solution to that is to just delve deeper into the Srimad Bhagavatam. Because when we do that, Sukadev Goswami enters our heart, Krishna enters our heart, and Guru enters our heart. And the answer to all the questions that we have will come from within. And Prabhupada promises that. And he says that that will gradually give one the clue to actual life. And that's what will please him to complete satisfaction. So I found this verse very, very inspiring. And I would encourage, all these verses are in the Ratnamala. So you can hear the audio recording and use that. So can we go to the next verse, Prabhuji? Okay. So this is the answer to the second question. And if we remember the second question, that was, what is the essence of all scriptures? What is the essence of all scriptures? So that is 1.2.7. And the verse goes like this. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayatyasu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayad Ahaitukam. And the translation is, by rendering devotional service unto the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. Prabhuji, if we can go back up to the Sanskrit. Okay. So the answer to the second question, which is, what is the essence of all scriptures? Vasudeve Bhagavati, unto Krishna, Bhagavan. Bhakti Yoga, which is devotional service. Prayojitaha. Here the key word, the operative word in this verse is prayojitaha. How do we apply devotional service? And once we apply devotional service, the Srimad Bhagavatam promises that two things will happen. And that it would happen very soon. It says, not after a very long time, but very, very soon, you will get vairagyam, which is detachment, jnanam, knowledge, and that which is causeless. And that is the mercy of Guru and Krishna. So, vairagyam. And in the Bhagavatam, Darshan Prabhu makes a point to say that here jnanam refers to that knowledge which is devoid of desire for liberation. So that's how we are supposed to interpret this verse. And here, Prabhuji, if you can go to the purport. So I think we should just read the full purport. It's not long, so it's a very nice purport. Those who consider devotional service to the Supreme Lord Krishna to be something like material emotional affairs may argue that in the revealed scriptures, sacrifice, charity, austerity, knowledge, mystic powers, and similar other processes of transcendental realization are recommended. According to them, bhakti, or the devotional service of the Lord, is meant for those who cannot perform high-grade activities. Generally, it's said that the Bhakti cult is meant for the Shudras, Vaishyas, and less intelligent women class, but that's not the actual fact. The Bhakti cult is the topmost of transcendental activity, and therefore it is simultaneously sublime and easy. It's sublime for the pure devotees who are serious about getting in contact with the Supreme Lord, and it's easy for the neophytes who are just on the threshold of the house of Bhakti. To achieve the contact of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna is a great science, and it's open for all living beings, including Shudras, Vaishyas, women, and even those lower than the Sudras. What to speak of the high class men like the qualified Brahmanas and the great self realized kings. The other high grade activities designated as sacrifice, charity, austerity, etc., are all corollary factors following the pure and scientific bhakti cult. And this next paragraph is, I found that it had the answers to so many of my questions. So I think we should read it in full. The principles of knowledge and detachment are two important factors on the path of transcendental realization. The whole spiritual process leads to perfect knowledge of everything material and spiritual. And the results of such perfect knowledge are that one becomes detached from material affection and becomes attached to spiritual activities. And from here onwards, Prabhupada goes to a lot of lengths to explain what true detachment means. He says, becoming detached from material things does not mean becoming inert altogether, as men with a poor fund of knowledge think. Naishkarma means not undertaking activities that will produce good or bad effects. Negation does not mean negation of the positive. Negation of the non-essentials does not mean negation of the essential. I think it's Prabhupada's scholarship that he can say such a very, very big concept in one line. He says negation of the non-essentials does not mean negation of the essential. Similarly, detachment from material forms does not mean nullifying the positive form. The Bhakti cult is meant for realization of the positive form. When the positive form is realized, the negative forms are automatically eliminated. Therefore, with the development of the Bhakti cult, with the application, again, we have to apply what we've learned. With the application of positive service to the positive form, one naturally becomes detached from inferior things and he becomes attached to superior things. Similarly, the Bhakti cult, being the supermost occupation of the living being, leads him out of material sense enjoyment. That is the sign of a pure devotee. He is not a fool, nor is he engaged in the inferior energies, nor does he have material values. This is not possible by dry reasoning. It actually happens by the grace of the Almighty. In conclusion, one who is a pure devotee has all other good qualities, namely knowledge, etc. But one who has only knowledge or detachment is not necessarily well acquainted with the principles of the Bhakti cult. Bhakti is the supermost occupation of the human being. So, anyway, so I think that purport has a lot to unpack. And I think many of us, when we start reading, and I'm just talking about myself, struggle spiritual and many times it's kind of hard to figure that out on your own either. But again, the shelter is the Srimad Bhagavatam. The more we learn, the more we hear, the more we reflect and contemplate, that answer will come from the Srimad Bhagavatam for us. And in summary, I think we are at 8:40. I want to make time for discussion. To recap, the first 7 verses are the answers for the first 2 questions that are asked by the sages. I think it's okay to stop the screen share now. Thank you. So the points that we learned today were, 1, to always have gratitude to the countless people that helped us in this path and continue to help us. We all need mentors. We all rely on each other. And that's this community that Prabhupada built. I was at the Vyasa Puja for His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj. That's every Saturday for the last 12 weeks. And it's so heartwarming to see devotees from Pakistan, Mauritius, South Africa, and although you're seeing for the first time, you automatically feel kinship when you listen to them speak. And so we have to be very grateful for the devotee community that we have here with us, and both here and online. So great gratitude is key to help really understand Bhagavatam. And second is compassion. It is the compassion of all these gurus that we have these books, and they went through a lot to even get this to us, and we should do our part. And when we do our part, we have to ask ourselves two questions. Is it ahaituki and apratihata? What is my motivation? Is my intent pure and sincere? And is my effort consistent? Why am I doing it? How am I doing it? And that's an honest conversation that we have to have with ourselves all the time. And Bhagavatam is something that relates both to Lord Krishna and to the welfare of everyone in the world. And reading the Bhagavatam alone can give us knowledge from within. Because when we do, the Bhagavatam promises us that Sukadev Goswami can enter into the hearts of all. And lastly, 1.2.6 is the answer to question 1, which is Bhakti is the supermost occupation and benefit for the whole world. And the second is the essence of all scriptures is again Bhakti to Krishna, and it has to be unmotivated, without tinge of material desires, and uninterrupted, and only then it will cause us satisfaction. And when we do that, very soon we will get both knowledge and detachment. So that's the summary of these 7 verses. Again, I want to thank Alek Prabhu and Hari Prabhu for giving me this opportunity, and we can now open the floor for questions. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you, Mother Sumitra, for giving such a wonderful Krishna Katha that is soothing to the heart from all the material pangs felt in this material world, which is the recommended action in this age, to listen to the glories of Sri Krishna and his devotees. So thank you for that. I just wanted to do another quick reminder that Mother Sumitra has requested that at 9:15 she has a hard stop. So if questions and comments and discussion go for so long, then 9:15 is the hard stop. And if we can finish earlier as well, that's not a problem either. But also make sure your questions are pertaining to the, we would like to give priority to the devotees who are with the questions that are pertaining to the class, questions and comments pertaining to the class. And if you have other comments and questions with Mother Sumitra's permission, you may ask them or comment them. And also for the quiz after this, because this is a course, not just a class. So we have a quiz after this. And so for that quiz, the 2 things that you're going to need, I'm going to put in the comments right after this, is that you're going to need your laptop or whatever your Zoom device is right now, which is running well. So, or YouTube, whatever your device is. And you're going to need another device like a phone or a laptop. If you're on your phone with the Zoom, you're going to need 2 devices to play the game or the quiz or anything. So one for the Zoom and one for the phone. So I tested this out on many people who are good at technology and who are very inept at technology. And it's easy enough that your kids could do it. I think we, as a lot of us are IT, a lot of people are IT professionals. I think we got this. So I will open it up to questions. And if you have a question, please raise your hand and we will unmute you. Hare Krishna.
I don't have a question, but I have a comment.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, so this is one of the favorite verses from Srila Prabhupada, Savai Pumsa Parodhanam Dharma. This is one of the verses which Prabhupada gave many lectures. And also is one of the verses which you quoted highly. Just wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
I think Manish Prabhu had a question. He raised his hand on Zoom.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much, Mataji. It was very nice lecture. So my question is on the same words which Naveen Krishna Prabhu mentioned. Savi Punsan Parodharma. So if you can speak a little bit more on that, especially like ahetuki pratyahata. So what my realization is that initially that is there when people come into Krishna consciousness, right? I'm talking about myself. But later on, what happens? People start getting appreciation, right? So there are a lot of things happen in community. Then focus shifted from bhakti to the other part of the like it. So the activities is not to please Krishna. The activity happens to get the appreciation from the community member and for different things. So if you can speak more on that, that what is your realization, or anybody else, Naveen Prabhu, or you can speak.
Sure. Very nice question, Prabhu. I think all of us go through that learning curve. And I would say that I think the key is to always have clarity in why we are doing anything. And that the sole reason we are doing is to please Krishna. I asked a very similar question to His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj, and when Maharaj responds, he'll always quote a Prabhupada letter or a Bhagavatam verse, and this is the verse he quoted. And I think there's two ways I can address that. One is to always have internal clarity with our own selves that I'm doing this for Krishna, and also having that humble prayer to Krishna. Don't let this get to my head. Whatever appreciation I'm getting, don't let this get to my head. Don't let this distract me from serving you. Just acknowledging that, yes, this is happening, but I don't want to get distracted from my true purpose. So that's one. And the second thing is to always have someone in the community that you can speak your heart to, and have like a reality check or a gut check on how things are going. And for me, it's some devotees in our community, but my sister-in-law, Guru Vandana Devi Dasi. So I think it's good to always have that person. So you're also you're kind of making sure that you're continuing to stay focused. And in terms of the apratihata, the uninterrupted part, I always go back to chanting. I feel like, and I'm just speaking from my very personal experience. Sometimes when I started, you chant a lot, and then you start reading, and then soon it becomes just listening to lectures. Shravanam, 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 Katinam, Pestinam, but no Mananam, Nididhyasanam. And for me personally, I think that can get a little bit distracting. So going back to the basics, chanting, always making sure we fulfill that requirement, chanting. And whatever we read, Prabhupada wanted all his disciples, all devotees to write, to reflect and write. So having that lone time for yourself to write, to have relationships with devotees, and focusing on the chanting and Bhagavatam, I think has helped me personally to stay focused, because things will happen. Sometimes devotees will appreciate, sometimes you may not always get appreciation. And if you let the appreciation get to you, then you'll also get pulled down when there is no appreciation or when there is criticism. So regardless of that ups and downs, to have clarity on the object of our love. So I don't know if I answered your question properly. Maybe people who are a lot more senior can chime in.
Oh, thank you, Mataji. It's very helpful. If others have one opinion, please share. But it was helpful.
Hare Krishna. Oh, Naveen Krishna Prabhu wants to say something. Yeah, I think now you should be able to unmute yourself.
Yeah, because I was trying to say thank you, Manish. Manish, wonderful, happy to see you. I just want to add one thing what Sumitra Mataji said. Yes. So when four sweep comes, like no, auto jigna suratatmika, distress, knowledge, inquisitive, and then devotion. But in Kali Yuga, there's the four kind of people come to Krishna. So it's first is distress, more distressed, most distressed, highly distressed. So most of the people who comes is very less people for knowledge, very less for inquisitive in general. This is the statement from Bhagavatam which I was hearing yesterday. The four kind of people come to Krishna is all are distressed in general. There are some exceptions, but in general. So now when they come, what happens is they're always low. That means they don't have any expectation. When you don't have expectation, then we started reading, chanting, association, service, everything. What we're trying to do, we're getting association of Krishna. Who is Krishna? Who's all attractive. That means he has all opposite opulences, name, fame, power, influence. When we associate Krishna, we get his qualities. We get be popular, we get the name, we get the fame, we'll be knowledgeable. What happens when we go close to Krishna, then we identify, oh, now I'm famous. Now everybody recognizes me. I can play harmonium nicely, I can sing very nicely, I can put distribution nicely, I can preach nicely, I can quote verses nicely. What happens before, the day before, when we started, we have nothing. Now when we start associating Krishna giving out of causeless mercy, his qualities, we also had them before. Now we get carried away. So now, as rightly mentioned, Sumitra Mataji, how do we check ourselves? We have to have at least one person who can check us. Honestly, sincerely, we have to have at least one person. It is very easy to serve seniors, very easy to give instruction to juniors. But we have to have a peer who can check us. When you're doing good, wonderful. When we're not doing it, hey, Naveen, you're Maya. And we could able to accept that. When we don't have that, then actually we glide down. Because why? When we had nothing, when Krishna gave us, then we carried away with, this is my power, my knowledge. Very, very dangerous. So yeah, we should have one friend, it is a community who can check us all the time. And then when they say it is very painful, but we should have to be willing to accept that. Otherwise, we'll carry it away. And then we'll go back, eventually get distressed. And cycle start again. So that is going on, life after life. So no opportunity for us to end that. So become like a key is to sincere and honest. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
If I actually had Alec Prabhu, is there anybody on the thing? I had a comment, if I may.
Hey Hari, this
Yes.
Ramesh here. After you, I can go ahead.
Sure.
Okay.
So I just really I loved today's lecture like anything. This is really one of my favorite topics in the sense that I also was very impressed is that I read this Savai Pumsa Parodharma so many times, and I just find something new every time I read these books. And then so one thing that you even highlighted on today, that will gradually give one clue to actual life and please him to complete satisfaction, in that this is Srila Prabhupada's universal principle, is that he was never rejecting of anyone, and he was very universal in his message, in that whatever material conditioning that you have is that you can still engage it in the service of Krishna, whatever position you're at. Prabhupada, there's actually an old New York City TV interview with Brahmananda. And then Brahmananda, it's actually, it's very beautiful. Brahmananda says, I work in the job and I chant Hare Krishna on the train. And by that, in that way, I'm serving Krishna. So even if so we can chant Hare Krishna anywhere and any place. We famously, we can even chant Hare Krishna in the restroom. According to Gopal Guru Goswami, we can chant Hare Krishna in the restroom, and we can chant Hare Krishna everywhere. And it's not and if someone asked a senior devotee once, how is it possible to chant Hare Krishna in the restroom? And it's so offensive, so much like that. And then the senior devotee said, that the whole world is a restroom. It's just the whole world is just a big restroom. And if you look at it, it's all continuously flushing you down into the toilet. So the whole material world is like that. And if we're looking for the opportune time, opportune place, opportune circumstances to serve Krishna, then it'll never come. So it is so practical to actually go out and do it, and to remember Krishna at every time. And I like this word that Srila Prabhupada is using. Krishna is the central pivot of every living being. And I like this word pivot, and I looked it up what a pivot was. If you guys can see on my phone, do you guys see the little triangle? The little triangle is a pivot. So a pivot is something that it balances everything together. Even Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, I think in the 7th chapter, that all living beings are resting on me as pearls on a thread. Sutre manigana iva. That everything is resting on him as a thread. And even in basketball, we have this term as a pivot foot. So imagine, like, when we're playing basketball, you if you want to pass the ball to somebody and you want to move around, you have to have one leg planted, and that's called your pivot foot. So in the same way, if we have something to balance ourselves with Krishna, and he is the central pivot in our thing, then you can have balance. But if you don't have the pivot, you have nothing to balance yourself with. There's nothing. There's no. You're just on the ground. But if you have a pivot, you have a shot. You have a shot. He's the central pivot. Is that everything is revolving upon him. So I really want to thank you that you have highlighted these verses, and I'll definitely that's one of my takeaways from this class. Hare Krishna. Ramesh Prabhu.
Hmm. Hare Krishna. Hari, you're able to hear?
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Sumitra Mataji, this Ramesh here. A very nice class, very well researched, and really we appreciate you sharing your own experiences, and the way through you went through all the purports and all. It's really very very informative. I don't have words to describe that. So thank you for all those things. I just had one comment, and today morning I was listening. I just wanted to share with everybody. This was on that verse, the Narayanam Namaskrityam Namaschaiva Narottamam. In that verse, if you see, there are names of the Rishi and Devi Saraswati, and these are mentioned. Generally, they are not, and I'm taking this from His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu's lecture in Alachua. So in that he mentions this, that these names are not found in Bhagavatam later on. If you see Devi Saraswati and all, they are not mentioned anywhere in, not much in Bhagavatam later on. But what's the reason that it was quoted in this verse? So one insight what Prabhu was mentioning was we need everybody's cooperation, the cooperation to understand this Bhagavatam. And that's where, they pay obeisances to this thing. So that's where it's not considered in what hierarchy and who are they and then that kind of thing. So just wanted to bring up that point. If you have any comments, please share, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for your kind words. I agree with you, Prabhuji. Sometimes I also find we get distracted into saying who's big, who's and all that. And I think that kind of distracts us from the purpose of the Bhagavatam. As we go and read like other prayers, Vitasura prayers, Rudra Gita, and all that, there's just that one thing that keeps coming up is how the devotee does not spend time in making any judgments about anyone. That they are mostly always grateful, compassionate to everyone, and so those are some of the takeaways I took from that verse. And also, I think Alek Prabhu mentioned this in Nitai Sevni Mataji's Q&A. Sometimes even we read the verse, we read the purport, we write down notes, and then 2 months later, sometimes you remember, but sometimes you don't remember anything. You have to go back to your notes, and it feels like you're reading it for the first time. And I've had that experience many times, and it can get a little depressing. So but anyway, I think there's a lot of factors that help us retain, like Krishna says, forgetfulness and memory also comes from me. So the more attitude of gratitude we have, I think the less things we'll have to distract us from our true purpose. Less things will have to drain us away into things that are not necessary.
Thank you, Manda. Thank you.
Any more questions. I think, I don't know, Alec Prabhu, would you like, we have 5 minutes. So,
Yeah, Prabhu, thank you. Actually, I was going to skip that question. I thought I can just Google, but um,
why Google when we have such a nice speaker here?
yeah, we want to value Mataji's time by not asking stupid questions. No, but actually, I was thinking while I was reading the sequence, and Mataji, you very wonderfully laid them out today. That how first it starts with paying obeisances to the spiritual master, and then glorifying Bhagavatam, and so before reciting also we have the prayers. So I was going through each of them, and then I was looking at the second text where um, Srila Sutta Goswami is talking about Sukdev Goswami, where he like how he took up the renounced order of life. And so I was wondering if the that where we can get more information about that uh, happening, and what. So, and Prabhupada explains in the purport also that if someone is already pure, they don't need to accept that the varnashram dharma and all that. But I was just curious that where do you have any more details on that?
So, if I understand the question correctly, Prabhu, you're asking where can you find more information about Sukadev Goswami taking up sannyas? Is that the
Yeah,
question?
this specific thing.
Okay, I'll be honest, I don't know much about it. I actually listened to both lectures through ISKCON and also some lectures through the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya because they are in Tamil and it's a language I'm very comfortable with. That's where I heard about the tree pastime, the tree responding, but I'll defer to Naveen Krishna Prabhu or anyone else who might know more about it.
What was the question? Why did he take sannyas?
No, where does it say in the scriptures anywhere? Is it in Chaitanya Charitamrita?
About he's taking sannyas?
Yes.
About Sukadev Goswami taking sannyas.
No, I never heard it, but I heard it that he's actually brahmachari.
So here
It's
in the
not a-
second text, it is said that when he went away to take up the renounced order of life sannyas, living home without undergoing reformation by the sacred thread or the ceremonies observed.
That's correct. So that after that there was no reference that he never got in this one, because if you see for the 12 Mahajans, he's one of them.
Mhm.
So there's Grihasthas, there's a Brahmacharis, right? He's comes under Brahmachari, like Narada, a Brahmachari or sannyasi. But there was no reference. I never heard it. Maybe it's then somewhere, but I never heard that he's taking sannyas. But he left, but Vasudeva ran behind him. Vasudeva ran behind him, and eventually, you know the story where some ladies were taking a bath, and then they were shy looking at him. But eventually, Vasudeva caught up and then brought him actually back. And then eventually they had a Bhagavatam citation again. And eventually that's how he taught him Bhagavatam. And then once he became learned Bhagavatam, then that's where he spoke Bhagavatam to those 7 days, 7 nights. Then after that, there was no reference what happened after that. I never heard that he got any sannyas. He was referred as like unmarried brahmachari.
Okay.
That's my understanding. And also the previous Ramesh was asking, well, where is the reference from Narayana Rishi? There's a 12th canto comes again. Narayana Rishi, past tense with Markandeya Rishi. There's a lot of that chapter was mentioned about Narayana Rishi, about the Markandeya Rishi. As far as the Saraswati is concerned, Saraswati is not different than Brahma. But first we'll start with Brahma. The entire Bhagavatam actually Brahma revealed. So his off part is Saraswati. In one sense, Saraswati is also part of Brahma. So even though that season we say we should, when we worship Brahma, respect. So Saraswati is part and parcel of that. That's in by. That's my understanding.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for joining the class. We would like to thank Mother Sumitra again, and we are very excited. Please don't go anywhere. We are have a quiz over 1.1 of the devotees who are enrolled in the course. So I have set instructions to everyone about how to join. And again, we'd like to thank Mother Sumitra Mataji. And then if she has to leave, I know she works and she's busy. So we'd like to thank again. And if can we unmute everybody? So if everybody wants to say a big Hari Bol to Sumitra Mataji, they can say a big Hari Bol right now.
Hari Bol!
Hari Bol!
Hari
Hari Bol. Thank you.
So,
Hari Bol, Mataji.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol Shivam.
So Sumitra Mataji ki jai.
Thank you.
So we will. I'll show you. Here's the. I'm going to share my screen right now. Here is the link. You have to. These are pretty. It's a pretty easy setup. I'll show you. I'll share my screen. Okay. So devotees, go to www.kahoot.it on your second device, and then enter the game pin and a nickname, and you should be onto the game. And devotees on YouTube, you can do the same thing. You are welcome to join the game as well. So I'll give about 2 minutes for devotees who want to join the game or the quiz. If anybody has any questions, they can unmute themselves and they can tell me.
I'm in.
Okay. Okay, someone's blah, blah, blah. You guys can get fun with the nicknames as well. We'll see how much you have assimilated the Bhagavatam into your mind.
Hari, that blah 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 is Kirti.
That's Kirti, huh?
We use Kahoot a lot in Sunday school.
So she's blah blah blah. Hari, I hope someone's Hari's servant. Yeah, me and Alec and a bunch of devotees, we tested it out yesterday, and we got pretty. People we'll just say, very creative with the nicknames. So Hari's servant too, good. Please serve Krishna. Let's just give it maybe one more minute. Does anyone on the Zoom call have any questions about this? Anybody having any problems about the Zoom call? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, oh, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And also, devotees, stick around after the game. We will have an announcement from Krish Prabhu about the new temple. I see 17 participants on the Zoom call, but I only see 9 participants on here. Is some people not joining? I see 16 now.
And we have 5 people on YouTube as well.
5 people on YouTube. Come on, guys! It'll be fun. It'll be fun. You can just put a random name if you'd like.
And we can trust Hari for easy questions.
Let's see. It's from the Bhagavatam. We'll give it 30 more seconds. How about that? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So devotees can once they see the screen, they can still join after we start the game. So that's not a problem. So let's start with the 9 we have. Okay, let's start up. Okay, this is the Srimad Bhagavatam quiz. So now you have to click the correct answer on your phone. The correct answer was how many questions did the sage ask? The sages asked 6 questions. Hari's servant is in the lead. So this grades on how fast you answer it and how correct you answer it. Each question has a 1,000 points. You can get 1,000 points per question.
It was weird because for me it was like, all right, I'll tell you later.
Sukadev goes. Okay, let's see. Let me put full screen. Is that a little bit better? I hope so.
It's weird. Why on my screen on the other device I just see the colors? I can see the names of the answers only on the screen.
Yeah, you only see it on Zoom.
Yeah, you want to click
weird.
you
know
gotta
what? Next time use Mentimeter. That one's gonna be better because like it's so confusing.
We use this in our schools. Okay, Hari's servant 2 takes the lead. Come on.
Ooh.
This is funny.
Okay. I hope nobody answered 3520 Walker Road. Okay, Naim Sharanya. Good. Jai has the answer streak of 3. Nice. You got 20 seconds, so you guys shouldn't have time to look. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on, it's 19. We have 19 chapters in the first canto. Okay, Gopika from New Vrindavan taking the lead.
Prabhuji, that's not me.
Oh, it's not you. Who's Gopi then? Okay, how can we get out of the clutches of birth and death?
Lol.
The options are so long, that's why it took time.
Chanting of the holy name. Okay. Question 6, true or false?
This is so tricky. There are places that both are true.
Okay, it's false.
But I got it right.
Who got it true?
Krishna is always present in his abode.
But in one of the slogan he says he's present in where the devotees are names. So that's why I thought it could be true too.
Exactly, that's what. There is a verse that says that Krishna in Vaikuntha.
I'm not in Vaikunt. I am in the place where devotees are singing my glories. I thought
He's
that
always present in Goloka. According to the first chapter, we're just on the first chapter of Bhagavatam. You start pulling things from here and there, then it might get confusing. So this is just this is clearly given the first chapter. True or false? Okay, this is a little confusing. Five, 4, 3. Okay, it is true. Vyasadeva was not in a mature state at one point, because to be in a mature state, there has to be a point where you weren't mature, which was when it comes in the 4th chapter, when Vyasadeva wrote all the Vedas and everything, and then he asked his guru Narada Muni, and then Narada Muni barely condemns Vyasadeva. So he was true. He was not always in a mature state.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So we got 4 out of 5. Blah, blah, blah is in the lead.
Great.
Okay. He was submissive. This is clear. This is given the text of the first chapter. He was a submissive disciple. Yep, he is. Nothing is independent. Nothing is equal. Simultaneously one and different. So that's the correct answer. Hari Servant by 2 comes back into the lead. A little bit tougher going into Sanskrit.
Yeah.
I have no clue. I have not heard
Me
any
too.
of those 4.
Asamarudhya.
Oh, I did not. Nobody got it right.
So now, okay, so nobody got it right. So nobody is at a disadvantage. So this is, now you will never forget it, that Asamarudhya means no one is equal to or greater than him.
Then what is Swarat means?
Swarat
Swarat.
means the. I also read it in this. I forgot what
It-
I
was
think
it.
that's Swarat. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavi. I think it's in the first verse itself. So we can look that up after the class. Swarat. Next. Nobody got anything. The oldest Purana.
Got this.
This is
It's the Matsya Purana. Prabhupada
Woohoo!
mentions it in one of his purports. So
Matsakyam comes first, anyways.
Matsya
That's
Dev
what
comes
I
first.
thought about.
Should be easy. Just see what you do and what the animals can't do. Okay. Yeah, it's religion. Animals also defend. So we don't think that there's an animal religion, animal church or whatever. 13, question 13.
Sentences are hard to go through fast.
All of the above, you're right. Okay, Anuradha is getting a lead. Which is not a quality of the Kali Yuga people. Not a quality, not a quality, which is not a quality.
That was tough.
So Kali Yuga people have a short lifespan. They are lazy and they're misguided, but they are disturbed, but they are not undisturbed. They're always disturbed. Next. Okay, Jai. 15. True or false? Devotees sanctify people faster than the Ganga water. It's mentioned in the first chapter.
Yep.
Okay, true. Devotees sanctify people just on the first meeting or the first association, while the Ganga takes many repeated associations to become purified. So that's the answer to that. Okay, 16. Can get out of the estrangements of this complicated age of Kali. 2, 1. Okay, all of the above. You're right. That those who are without any desire for aggrandizement, those who are free from the effects of fruitive actions, those who are engaged in pure bhakti, they can all get out of the estrangements of the complicated age of Kali. So good job on that. Okay. And this is the second to last one, which is not a quality of Sutta Goswami. Tough one. Think about it. Yeah, he is not the youngest learned Vedantist, but the sages say he is the eldest learned Vedantist. So it is mentioned specifically eldest learned Vedantist. So he is freed from all vices, gentle, pure, and submissive, and he's gentle, pure, and simple, and he's submissive, but he is not the youngest learned Vedantist. So last question, guys. Let's see. What is the title of this chapter that we're studying?
This is a good one. You threw in there from the second chapter.
Of course.
And everyone was expecting it.
Divinity and divine service. That's it. It's a lot of people that actually nobody answers to the 6 questions. No, it's divinity and divine service. So that's the name of this chapter. So do some heavy reading. So the podium, 3rd place.
Yes, I got the 3rd
Jai.
prize. Oh no.
2nd, Hari's servant 2.
Oh, I'm 2nd.
1st, Anuradha.
Yeah, that's me.
And blah blah blah. So great, everyone. You guys did a really good job.
Who's
And I
Hari's
hope
servant too?
I am
Well
Hari's servant too.
And who is Jay?
Me.
Oh, so cute.
I hope this was fun, and this was a fun review session, and I hope you guys can learn. We'll do this after the end of every chapter, and I hope it was a fun way of reviewing. And before everybody leaves, Krish Prabhu has a quick update. He'd like to make a small announcement. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thanks for letting me speak. It's going to be like a minute or two. So everybody knows this is month of Kartik, and you would have all got information in their WhatsApp, email, and other ways that we are running a fundraising campaign for our new temple for this week. So it's basically we have a modest goal of $100,000. There's a $50,000 up to matching. So I know a lot of you have already contributed to the temple. So my request is to spread this message, right? So if it was not COVID, we would be meeting in the temple. There's a lot of opportunities to have face-to-face conversation. It's easy to spread message, but now we have to do everything through online and digital media. So this is a request for you to all spread the message. And even if you have all contributed, any small amount is good, right? Like 25, 50, 100. So we have a good website now, and a lot of effort has been put in to get started with the campaign. So today is the first day of the campaign. We have one more week to go. So please take this opportunity and contribute and spread the message and motivate others to contribute. So we want to see this temple a reality soon. So thanks Hariparu.
Krishna, thank you for, this is the little flyer that they have. You can go, and a wonderful donor has given to build Krishna a temple, and to build Hari Mandir is a very nice thing. And they've given little gifts too, Aarti on Govardhan Puja Day, and it's quite nice. So if you have done a pledge, please finish off your pledge, and if you have not done a pledge, this is a very nice time to do a pledge in this month of Kartik. So, with that, we will pause our Srimad Bhagavatam reading for this week, and we'd like to thank you all the devotees for joining, and we'll just say Vaishnava Pranams, and we can end the video call here. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Thank you all for joining.